The Indiana Fever having to make some cuts. Players that many expected to be possibly gone. This is the first cut.
Plenty of players have been waived.
The Indiana Fever made shocking moves that no one saw coming.
The Indiana Fever made with Caitlin Clark's presence on the court is undeniable.
Major players gone just like that. Fans are stunned, teammates are speechless, and the WNBA, it's officially on notice.
Fever made some unsurprising roster cuts.
This isn't just a roster update, this is a complete shift in strategy. Why did the Fever suddenly cut some of their most promising talents? And what does this mean for the team's future? Stick around, because this isn't just a shakeup, it's the beginning of a new era.
How tough it was going to be to make the roster, how a group of players were fighting for essentially one spot. It's a rough life in the WNBA where you get drafted, you have that moment, and then it's gone.
Let's break it down. The Indiana Fever just made a bold and unexpected move, cutting multiple players from their roster, and fans are still trying to wrap their heads around it. Among the most notable names released were Aaliyah Moore, Maya Caldwell, Christy Wallace, and Tammy Fagbenle. Even Bree Hall and Jillian Elaine, players many thought had a real shot at making the final lineup, are now off the team.
Cece, one word to describe today.
Only one word. Unreal.
This all happened shortly after the Fever's first 2 preseason exhibition games, making the timing even more dramatic. It's not just that these players were cut, it's who was cut. We're talking about experienced athletes with solid college or international backgrounds now suddenly out of the picture.
But the timing of the cuts is interesting in the senses where they dropped these 2 players after the first 2 exhibition games. A championship is the clear stated goal.
The front office isn't just trimming the roster, they're making a statement. This team is no longer in rebuild mode. They're in win now mode. The Fever are preparing to build a team that fits a specific system, one that revolves around their new superstar, Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is just so fun to watch. The difference that she brings to the game. This is an entertainer. She knows how to rev up the crowd. She puts on a show. And like Rebecca Lobo said, the Indiana Fever are just fun to watch.
And if a player doesn't fit that vision, no matter their resume, they're out. So why did the Indiana Fever suddenly release so many players, some of whom showed real promise? The answer comes down to 2 words: Caitlin Clark.
Camp, it was assumed 5 players were competing for one spot.
Caitlin Clark is just different from everyone else.
From the moment she was drafted, the Fever's entire strategy shifted. This isn't just about cutting underperformers. This is about building a team that maximizes Clark's unique skill set.
It's crazy how one player can implement a change so massive. That is Caitlin Clark.
Everybody get an opportunity. And the cold reality of the WNBA is there just aren't that many teams and there aren't that many roster spots, which doesn't lead to said opportunity for too many players.
Caitlin Clark isn't your average rookie. She's a generational talent with elite court vision, unlimited shooting range, and the kind of playmaking that can redefine an entire offense. The Fever's front office knows it. That's why they're reshaping the roster around her, not the other way around. Every player on the roster now has one job: fit around Clark. That means they need speed, floor spacing, high basketball IQ, and the ability to keep up with her fast-paced and dynamic style.
Whenever Caitlin Clark takes the floor, that maybe is different not only from any player in the WNBA, but from any player in basketball. The Indiana Fever are where they are because of Caitlin Clark. The WNBA is where it is because of Caitlin Clark. The Iowa situation is what it is because of Caitlin Clark.
If a player can't stretch the floor, make quick reads, or contribute in transition, they're simply not part of the new blueprint. Take Aaliyah Moore, strong and athletic, but her role became redundant in a system prioritizing speed and floor spacing. Tammy Fagbenle, an experienced post presence but not fast enough to thrive in Clark's up-tempo system. Even Bree Hall, who showed solid defensive potential, didn't offer the offensive versatility the team now demands.
Bree Hall would have had to really stand out in order to make the team. I just thought she had a chance if she could show she was a great defensive player just because they didn't have that specific player. They're going to do what they think gives them the best chance to win and gives them the best roster going into the regular season. And everyone who's on the bench has to be able to be relied upon for minutes if needed.
These decisions weren't personal, they were strategic. Indiana is sending a message. This is Clark's team now, and every move is being made to unlock her full potential. Every cut, every signing, every minute of playing time, it all runs through the lens of,
I would say, just pushing the pace and just keep going, not settling for who we were playing with. We're just getting ready to play, those bigger opponents and to win a championship. So we just had our mind focused on what we wanted to do and just keep the pace and not worry about the score.
how does this help Caitlin Clark dominate? The recent roster cuts by the Indiana Fever weren't just about numbers. They were a calculated decision driven by a much bigger agenda: the rise of Caitlin Clark. From the moment she stepped into the organization, everything changed. Clark isn't just a top draft pick, she's a generational force, a player with the kind of talent and star power that shifts the entire identity of a franchise. And that's exactly what's happening in Indiana.
Honestly, I was really excited to just get out there and play, and especially getting to do it for the first time this season in front of these fans was really cool for myself. And just seeing the amount of people and young girls and young boys that stand there and scream for me to sign their stuff, I don't take that for granted. That's so cool. I would be lying to you if I thought that was just normal and everybody gets to do that. They don't. So I'm glad I can be a role model for them, and they have a great impact on me too.
The Fever aren't trimming the roster for the sake of it. They're building a team specifically designed to elevate Clark's strengths. Her game is built on speed, spacing, vision, and relentless offensive pressure. She thrives in a system that moves fast, spreads the floor, and allows her to dictate tempo. So the Fever's leadership took a hard look at their roster and asked one simple question: does this player complement Caitlin Clark's style?
The team looked it great. Caitlin Clark looked like she's ready to go.
When Caitlin Clark arrives, she's going to be responsible for moving the ball more. She's going to be responsible for setting picks, dropping the ball off, making decisions. It's not just going to be dumping the ball down and you make a decision and we'll live with whatever you do. So
for several players, the answer was no. Aaliyah Moore, for example, had shown flashes of athleticism and effort, but her role didn't align with the new game plan. The same applied to Tammy Fagbenley, who brought international experience and size, but not the mobility or floor-stretching ability that fits the Clark-led offense.
The ball movement was great to see. Who didn't want to see that the ball snapping around and the unselfish play? I think it bodes very, very well for the ceiling of this team.
Maya Caldwell and Christy Wallace, players who offered depth and flashes of talent last season, also didn't make the cut. Not because they weren't capable, but because the Fever are no longer interested in capable. They're chasing chemistry, they're chasing fit, and most importantly, they're chasing wins. Even promising young players like Bree Hall and Jillian Aline weren't safe. Bree, known for her defensive hustle, couldn't show enough offensive flexibility to secure her spot. And in a system where the offense will run through Clark every single possession, being a one-dimensional player just isn't enough. Aline, meanwhile, struggled to find her rhythm in a system that demands quick decisions, constant movement, and flawless communication.
This is your first time experiencing the Caitlin madness. What do you make of this entire day that you were able to experience?
It's amazing, just to see that how many people just love her in this city. She made her mark here, and it's just incredible to see all the fans and how much she's just put into working, and then the impact she's had on this city is just amazing.
These were not easy decisions. These are professional athletes who gave everything during training camp. But the Fever made one thing crystal clear: they are building around Clark. And anyone who can't keep pace with that vision, no matter how respected or experienced, will be left behind.
She broke her own damn record, hitting 36-foot-long three-pointers. She looked it sensational. This team looked it great. And I'm telling you right now, they just put the entire WNBA on notice.
She put on a show. The deep logo three, that further than the logo really, that no one else is doing. The delicious dimes whenever Caitlin Clark takes the floor, that maybe is different not only from any player in the WNBA, but from any player in basketball.
This isn't personal. This is business. This is the blueprint for a franchise that sees its future in one player and is willing to rebuild everything around her. With these cuts, the Indiana Fever have made one thing crystal clear. They're not just rebuilding, they're rebranding. The team isn't interested in slow progress or minor improvements anymore. They're accelerating toward a future where Caitlin Clark is the centerpiece of a WNBA contender. These roster moves aren't just about who's leaving, they're about what's being built in their place.
Caitlin Clark breaking the record at $440 per average ticket to get into this game. That record was re-broken and increased to $670 per ticket. Couldn't help myself. Haters, read it and weep.
Every decision the Fever make from this point forward will be viewed through a strategic lens. They're looking for players who can shoot from deep, defend multiple positions, and keep up with Clark's pace both mentally and physically. There's no more room for role players who need time to develop or veterans who slow the game down. The Fever are clearly assembling a team of high IQ, fast-moving, adaptable athletes, players who can thrive in a system designed to unleash Clark's full potential.
Salary cap is structured. The Fever are most likely making 2 more cuts. Most likely, which I would say that the players that are in the most danger are Ejim, who was the other draft pick, and the latest draft pick, and also Jaylen Brown.
But it's not just about on-court chemistry. There's also the business side of things. With Clark's rookie contract clock ticking, the Fever are racing to build a competitive team while she's still on a manageable deal. That means salary cap space is now a premium asset. Releasing players who don't fit the system isn't just about performance, it's about keeping financial flexibility. They need room to sign the right veterans, make smart trades, and secure young talent who can grow into core contributors.
It's Makayla Timpson. My goodness, she looks like she has something, folks. She does. And I'm excited that she's part of the team. Makayla Timpson was selected number 19 overall.
Meanwhile, players like Makayla Timpson are emerging as the model for what the Fever want. She doesn't just play well, she plays the right way. Her off-ball movement, decision-making, and ability to click with Clark during exhibition games prove that she belongs in this new era. Indiana is hunting for more players like her pieces that complete the puzzle, not just fill a spot. Make no mistake, this is only the beginning. More roster moves are on the horizon. Egypt and Jaylen Brown are reportedly still on the bubble, facing intense pressure to prove they can adapt to the Fever's new system. If they don't, more names will be added to the list of cuts. The front office is showing zero hesitation. They're not waiting for players to catch up, they're finding players who are already running at full speed. And beyond the court, there's a cultural transformation underway.
Indiana Fever made their first roster cuts of training camp Monday. Rookie Bree Hall, Jillian Elaine were waived by the team as it narrows down its opening day roster.
Caitlin Clark doesn't just change the game, she changes the brand. Sold-out arenas, national headlines, surging fan interest. This is a franchise suddenly in the spotlight. With that attention comes expectations. Indiana knows it's sitting on a golden opportunity, and the Fever aren't just trying to be relevant. They're aiming to be dominant.
I didn't plan to shoot that logo 3. I know coming into the game, everybody wanted me to shoot one from there. But Steph was like, was supposed to come out at the end of the third, so she's like, give a foul, give a foul, give a foul. And then it was 30 seconds on the clock, which like between 30 to 33, that's like your 2-for-1 range where you have to get one up. So I saw 30 as we're inbounding the ball, which probably is inbounding the ball at 30, probably a little low. But I was like, why not?
Caitlin Clark play. And then we got one of the highlights of her career, really. We know she broke the record at Iowa. And then I'm going to pull up from all the way here. The ball's way in the air, and it goes down.
So what does all this mean? It means Indiana Fever basketball is entering a new era, faster, smarter, sharper. And everything from now on will revolve around one thing: giving Caitlin Clark the tools she needs to lead this team to greatness. The message is loud and clear: the Indiana Fever are done playing it safe. With Caitlin Clark at the helm, they're making bold moves, cutting deep, and building for something bigger than just a decent season.
So this is what an actual crowd looks like. Chloe Peterson put this up. That is a sold-out arena. 14,998 people. That's all it could hold. They all showed up in Caitlin Clark's college arena. absolutely full capacity, folks. Full capacity on this thing.
This is about creating a dynasty. These roster cuts, just the beginning. So buckle up because the Fever are coming, and they're coming fast. What do you think was cutting these players the right move? Or is Indiana taking too big a risk? Let us know in the comments below. And if you believe in the Caitlin Clark era, type 100% to show your support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We've got more fire coming your way. See you in the next one.